Zom 100 localization inserts coddled snowflakes dialogue. I really need a list of terms that are not okay to exist. Like if you used the exact word for word Tyler Durden speech that includes the word snowflake in it, do you think it would still draw ire? You know, like. So yet another anime has been subjected to an incorrect localization as Zom 100 Bucket List of the Dead was found to contain dialogue with the words coddled snowflakes. A Twitter user provided a screenshot of an English sub version of the show's 11th episode. Lucas just can't keep the terminally online phrasing out of the anime subs. And it's supposed to say... Viz Media, great episode to be honest. I have one complaint though. On episode 11, Toko said you coddled snowflakes are the ones at fault, when she actually said this, which means to be raised in a spoiled upbringing. You commies are at fault. You champagne communists are the ones at fault for the zombie apocalypse. Could have just said you spoiled brats are the ones at fault or something. Using coddled snowflake is a bad translation. Please fix it. Okay, so I've heard your point, and I guess I guess I'm okay with them changing it, I suppose. They should blame society for raising a bunch of lax snowflakes. Oh, apparently Viz Media localization apparently uses the same wording. So the manga localization by Viz also said snowflakes. And we can hear it.
Says snowflakes.
As noted by the highlighted user, spoiled or spoiled brats would indeed be a more accurate translation. In the same thread, a different user mentioned another equally absurd translation for Mashal. I stuck this line to the subs.
What's the Mashal line?
Forgive him, Abyss calls girls females. That's how little experience he has with them. He can hardly utter the word girl. Wow. Oh man. That mattered so much.
That's not far. That's not too far. That's not that far off. I mean, it's basically.
Once again,
that's
just
like
saying,
non-issue.
Fan of localization, not a fan of vocalization.
Well, hold up. I think I understand the second one. Females feels more like distant from like a human interaction. When it's girls, it's like that actually sounds normal. So I see why it defeats the purpose of the line.
So I don't want to have a discourse over the localization shit forever, for all eternity, continuing forever, unless it's warranted. I don't think this one matters that much personally. I can see the argument they're making that maintaining an accurate thing versus just throwing some internet lingo in there, so to speak, isn't a bad.
I feel like the pitchforks are better used on some more egregious.
How I feel it's painting the micro villain as conservative.
What?
Like snowflakes is like more of a conservative term used to describe the weak-minded, and painting like this is a villain character. So having her use that language paints her as like more conservative.
Yeah, so it's kind of like in I think it was like season 1 of Punisher on Netflix, when they made the one guy wearing the NRA hat who was like a stolen valor guy, and it's just like constantly punching the actual
Jews audience, on the internet,
right, of the Punisher series. All right, so in other news, resurfaced video shows former Funimation scriptwriter Jamie Markey proudly touting wild changes made to Panty and Stocking English dub. Quote, "You want it to be different and original." So once again, just because I feel like there's always the chance that somebody will say like, haha, you chuds, look at that. You can't even blah, 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 whatever. Once again, fan of localization. Fan of it. Love it. Change things. I like that shit. Makes it more entertaining. I can watch it sub and dub. Not a fan of Woke-alization, which is different. However, in this article, they talk about the fact that I guess Mars Girl said, man, you'd think writing a word you didn't like was akin to war crimes. Whoa! Reduce it to the absurd. If they're really so upset about literal translations, can you imagine how much they'd freak out if they ever watched Panty and Stocking? And then they go on to talk about ghost stories and all this stuff. And then Jamie Markey says, ghost stories, Shin Chan, Panty and Stocking with garter belt. Probably only the last one, since that's the only one I worked on. Okay. So that means that Jamie Markey is now taking credit for this line, which I will now play for you.
Thank you so much for coming here tonight. We've both been looking forward to this day. Woo! Some might say we're just in it for the money, but that's only partly true. We do it for you guys.
Can you believe it, ladies and gentlemen? Roman Polanski was released from prison just so he could direct this risque film. Sex in the Dotton City is a real hit.
Okay. First of all, we do it for the fans. I can't not notice that line in there. Also, Roman Polanski was released from prison to direct Panty and Stockings film. That is not what is said in the Japanese. And it really raised my eyebrow when it came up as we covered this all the way back in 2020 here, right? During the pandemic. So as I mentioned, partially it's weird because Polanski never actually went to prison. By the way, Roman Polanski anally sodomized a 14-year-old girl, and Whoopi Goldberg said it wasn't rape. Literally, all of Hollywood came out to defend Polanski over sodomizing this girl, right? He fled the country and has been a fugitive from the U.S. criminal justice system while he was awaiting a sentence, and he pled guilty to the statutory rape. And I said, why am I surprised that this joke would be in a dub helmed by the people who tried to Me Too Vic, then half of their fellow actors in Hollywood that share their warped ideology have spent decades defending Roman Polanski after he admitted to drugging and raping the 13-year-old girl. Pardon, I was wrong. 13-year-old girl. Not 14. Makes all the world difference, I guess. Anyway, the subversion says the godfather of the film industry, David Shyamalana, which I thought might have been an M. Night Shyamalan reference.
Yeah, a combination of like David Fincher and M. Night Shyamalan.
No, I thought it, at the time at least there was a controversy that M. Night's like team tried to pull where they pretended on the Sci-Fi Channel to be a fake publicist named David Westover. So I thought David Shyamalan. I don't know. It's a very strange scene in the original, regardless. But just the fact that they pull out Roman Polanski of all, it's just weird. Anyway, also, I just want to point out once again that she has had to say, I enjoy how they always pluralize these lines when they can only come up with one example. Once again, it is not difficult to come up with examples. You even in the one about the patriarchy line, there's 3 fucking lines in that scene. You only address the one. All right. Anime News Network wrote an article titled, What is the Anime Localization Controversy? In which they try to reduce it to the absurd and make it about things it's not. So we will instead read Niche Gamer's take. Anime News Network article on bad localization, unsurprisingly dishonest.
Fuck, I'll talk.
Is that a real
So the
one?
Western anime website Anime News Network has posted a discussion on the localization controversy that gained traction recently, and it wasn't well received due to its dishonesty. For those unfamiliar, localizers have been inserting politics into video games and anime and or mistranslating them for over a decade, with Niche Gamer having a large article revealing a bunch of them. So just recently, Niche Gamer put together a 8 years plus compilation. We didn't cover this because we have individually covered each and every one of these on the podcast, but all of them combined are in here from what Niche
That's
Gamer had
exactly
covered.
what I was looking for.
Yeah. With examples of all of them. Original text, Nintendo's translation, all this different stuff. Okay, so if you're interested in it, that's there. Anyway, so the Anime News Network article attempts to discuss the matter, but one comment rather perfectly described the whole thing. Not going to give Anime News Network any clicks, but I'm guessing this is just another garbage diatribe that deliberately avoids addressing any of the criticism against objectively bad localizations while using deflection and misdirection to try to discredit it. Oh, there you go. That's the whole of it. The article is dishonest as it boils down the topic by calling anyone criticizing translation/localizers insecure chuds. I am a Chad stud. Thank you for noticing. Without actually addressing the more genuine criticism. I got to take that was a Kiwi Farms comment that made me chuckle. The discussion has several individuals addressing the matter, and they started by saying one of the main arguments for AI is the fact that it will possibly be more accurate to the original text. The article does accurately note that AI isn't yet at a dependable level and is more at the level of Google Translate, with it sometimes producing garbled results and missing important context. However, those speaking in the article decided to insult the opposing side by saying they're merely trying to, quote, earn points in the culture war, when this is exactly what localizers are doing by inserting political references when there were none in the original Japanese text. Who wrote this? Primal. Preach, Primal, you nailed it. Just like those who push modern-day feminism or gender ideology, the people in the article merely projected themselves onto those criticizing dishonest localizations. I don't even want to read their shit. Like, it is so trash. They do this stupid thing where they pretend they're in a text thread. Then the article moves on to once again berate critics, telling them they don't, quote, actually care about the subject matter due to, quote, bringing up the same examples. It even goes on to suggest critics of bad localization, quote, don't understand what translation actually is. The reason why people keep bringing up the same examples, even though they bring up all examples, as noted by the Niche Gamer article chronicling 8+ years worth of doing this, is because localizers never give an actual answer to them. Any normal person cannot comprehend how you go from everyone was always saying something to me to those pesky patriarchal societal demands and act as if it's not blatant manipulation of the script to push fabricated Western ideological nonsense that wasn't in the original Japanese script. Similarly, the article doesn't bother to provide an answer either, merely excuses, such as recycling the same argument of localizers not being paid enough. Well, if the budget only allows for so much, then I guess AI it is. As if that is meant to be justification for inserting nonsensical politics and memes into the script. As noted by another commenter, it doesn't help that the translators act like moral arbiters and purposely change scripts to fit Western sensibilities instead of just preserving the creator's original intent. The sheer amount of anime being released was also blamed. As the article said, the poor quality is often a law of averages problem as opposed to any sign of malicious incompetence, which is absurd given the provided example. Yeah, so once again, they don't even see. Like, literally, they can't even fathom the argument being made because pesky patriarchal demands is in line with their worldview. So it not being the same is the argument that they see and think it's not that far off, rather than, hello, this is egregious. Putting Gamergate Creepshow into prison school is absolutely egregious. But when they're on the side of anti-Gamergate, then they hear the line and think, you know, like, they don't even see the issue, you know what I mean? Because they align with it too much, right? The article wants to convince people that inserting a reference to social distancing into the script was because the localizers were too busy, and it was not at all their attempt to make the script their own, as opposed to simply translating the Japanese, which is their job. Most of those in favor of AI translations are tired of official English localizations due to the insertion of politics like memes where there were none, or from just horrible mistranslations in general. In many cases, those same localizers then mock anyone who dares criticize their questionable work. Here are some notable examples of criticized localizations. So we could watch these, but we've already covered literally all of these. This is the one from Hajime no Gal.
Which I really don't count as one of the localizations, but
here's a line where they inserted oh wait, no, is this okay, no, it is a switch over to
what
this
did
one.
the Japanese context say?
For which one?
For First Girlfriend as a Gal, because Green Line say it doesn't count it.
Well, this is the one where he says oh fuck, god damn, you're killing me. You're killing me.
Just watch it.
I'm going
30
to.
seconds.
Jesus, I'm trying. Holy shit.
You gotta turn
Hold
the
your
audio
goddamn horses so I can share it with audio.
I forgot you had to share it with audio.
You can't make high school girls read that crap. Oh, come on. They're just some light novels. They may be light novels, but they're heavy on the creepy sex stuff. Of course. Where's the fun in forcing these jailbait tricks to read something decent? Plus, most of the freaks who come in here hate women, so seeing girls degraded gives them boners and makes them happy. Well, maybe think about how these girls feel for once. Maybe they don't want to be debased just so you can sell a few more chicken wings to only losers with mommy issues. Check out the balls on this kid. Come in here and lecture me, you dickless cuck.
Yeah. Tell me that the White Knight character didn't need to be put up against the what terms would they use? Well, he called him a cuck, and it's like
there's also
so
the line that was chopped off is like another win for
Yeah,
you
it's
SJWs
it's
or
one.
whatever.
It's this one. Another win for you, SJWs. Yeah.
Book day's been canceled, you guys. Another win for you SJW millennials.
Millennials. Oh my god. Icing on the cake.
Yeah. The last thing I need to make my dub not timeless.
Are you
All right, so
sure that
is that
doesn't qualify, Green Line?
the entire show is like ghost stories. It's like filled to the brim with like
some kind of social justice
localizations.
warrior?
Yeah. So anyway, there's just a lot of this. A lot of this.
So it's gone so far beyond the point that it's ascended beyond
I think so. I count it
localization.
as like similar to ghost stories in the regard of like it's just talking about sex.
It's a parody
And, like,
dub.
Not almost parody. It's borderline parody.
So once again, I don't like to use the Hajime no Gal one as an example, only because Prison School is a better example because it's more egregious. You're always going to use an example of the worst one because walking people down the line of, okay, look, this might not seem so bad, but when you have it stacked up across all the other dominoes, then you realize how bad this is. It's easier to just say, yeah, listen to this one from Dragon Maid, listen to this one from Prison School, because they're so fucking egregious that you're like, yeah, there's a problem.
And they
We
don't
have a
pop
major
up
problem
again,
if this
especially
got
with
bought.
Dragon Maid. It's like it's like an insert joke for Jamie that was never brought up like ever again.
Yeah, and it was the same thing with Prison School. Fortunately, Funimation got them to change it before they put it out on disc.
By the way, this list is way shorter than I expected. You said it was like the last 8 years or something.
No. This is the article about that Anime News Network article. The 8 years one is a completely different article over here, and it is extremely long. Anyway, we've covered this too. Trails of Cold Steel, team bragging about censoring. This is the that's misogynistic instead of that's so old fashioned to wanting a wife who can cook. Anyway, back to here. Okay, so there are over 100 different examples, all of which were pointed out by people on the internet at one time or another. Anime News Network is no stranger when it comes to being part of that contingent, as their reviewers often complain about problematic elements in anime. Those critics will lambaste things like fan service with underage characters in Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid, or the fake rape accusation in Rising of the Shield Hero, or the body shaming and how heavy are the dumbbells you lift. The site also began preemptively censoring discussion before the airing of rape revenge anime redo of Healer, called the anime Darling in the Franxx right-wing propaganda, banned the use of the word trap, even though literally Trap and Address is a manga that's in their database on Anime News Network. And the website CEO even called critics alt-right dorks. Whoa. Christoph McDonald. Oh, how dare you. I thought that was just, I guess it was Christoph McDonald who said that. I thought that was Mike Toole for a second. Anyway. More comments about it. Anyway, I think, to the surprise of no one, they can't even see like the shit stain. They're so covered in it, that they can't even see it.
I just kind of want to reiterate to the snowflakes one is that while it's still valuable to point out when a company is like taking liberties, by giving such a big reaction to a smaller offense, it will make everyone on quote unquote this side seem like they're insane and like, oh my god, you're just like making a what is it, out of an anthill or whatever,
mountain out of a molehill.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah. Close enough.
So
that's my localization.
So this is the problem though. Like, once again, total fan of localization. I think it's absolutely wonderful. I think that a lot of the arguments being made against it currently are a little silly, right? There are some egregious examples, right, that we should not tolerate. But there's also the problem of giving people an inch and them taking a mile. If you allow them to not be raked over the coals for a little bit of internet lingo, where it's like, it's not that bad, then the next show comes out and it's nothing but. You know what I mean? Like legitimately, we do have a problem here that is unfixable in the sense that we have people who are just fucking bad at their job in the driver's seat. We
also it's like you're damned if you do, damned if you don't.
We also have so this is primary reason I'm a fan of localization, because occasionally you will get localized dubs that make the show better than the sum of its parts in Japanese, right? Black Lagoon, for example, that dub brings so much more to the table than what it had when it was just straight up Japanese, right? And they did things with it that actually make the story different in some aspects, with the one character who doesn't speak the same language as Revy, right? That they have entire conversations going in the dub that aren't even there. Am I remembering this wrong?
You're remembering it wrong.
There's like the shootout at the end of the second season.
Yeah, it's more apparent in the dub when Revy's actually speaking broken English, and
in the sub,
right? Because it's like in the sub. In the sub, Revy is speaking English to somebody who only speaks English.
No, she's speaking English to someone who speaks Japanese. Because in the show she can't speak Japanese. So to show that in the subtitle version,
that's what it was.
She starts speaking in broken English for the scenes where she's speaking to someone that speaks Japanese, so that the Japanese watcher knows that these two people aren't actually communicating.
Right.
But in the dub, they just both speak English.
They both speak English, and it actually changes things, in how you perceive it. But it's a fair trade, I would say, in terms of like how they handle it, because otherwise it would be even less immersive for me for them to start having her talk like a 5-year-old in order to convey to my English, speaking brain that she actually can't speak the language that he's supposed to speak or whatever. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's not very good the other way, right? So anyway. But yeah, I think there are plenty of examples of localizations that I absolutely adore, right? And I think that the problem is that it's hard to quantify why something is good. It's easy to quantify when something is really bad. It's hard to quantify when it's on the line. You know what I mean? Like in terms of like articulating exactly specifically what about it isn't something that should be repeated, because it's very nuanced, right?